Hello, my name is Steve Wallace. This is my Module 16 in EDL 856, and this is a case study called Parent Apathy. So in this case study, Miss Rose is a new assistant principal. She comes in and she's fresh out of getting her administration master's degree and knows that parent community involvement is very important in a successful school. She notices that her new school, John F. Kennedy School, is struggling with parental involvement. There's no PTO, PTA, very little parental involvement. She goes to her principal and says, hey, I think it would be good if we could gain some parents and get some parent involvement in our school. And at first the principal is pretty apprehensive, likes things the way they've been, feels like he talks to who he needs to talk to get the information, get the pulse of the school and the pulse of the parents. The assistant principal continues to talk with the principal about it, and finally the principal decides maybe it would be a good idea to have a parental advisory group, not interested in a PTA or anything like that, but a parental advisory group. They send out a notice via the kids that this meeting's going to happen, but only 8 parents show up. And that's kind of where we're left hanging in the parent apathy case. So, what do we know? We know Miss Rose is a new assistant principal straight out of admin school at JFK School. Like I already said, she knows that community school relations are very important, especially with parents, and notices that this is lacking. Originally, the principal was pretty apprehensive and pretty cynical towards getting parents involved, kind of wants them out of the way, probably from past negative experiences. Eventually, the principal opens up to the idea of a parental advisory group, and the assistant principal puts together this group, communicates it through the students to the parents, and only 8 parents showed up at the meeting. So again, the principal was like, is this worth our time? And that's where we were left hanging. What do you need to know? I would love to know what parent groups the school had before. The excerpt did you mention that there was parent groups before. Why has it declined would be another question. Is there something in the school where there is high parental involvement? Maybe there's this one thing that the school does where a lot of parents show up. So maybe you tag on to that or find what that is that maybe you can build on. And then how is the admin communicating with parents? Because the only way, and according to this, was they told students to tell their parents that this was going on. And in this day and age, that's probably not the best way to communicate with parents. What identify the main problem is always there's many layers to the problem. The main, obviously, is parent apathy, parent involvement in the school. The new principal sees this, tries to suggest different things. You have a principal that's been around for a while, probably had some negative experiences with parents not showing up, or with angry or parents that try to meddle, and just decides that he wants to be as away from parents as much as possible, which is not something that you don't hear. And then first time trying to organize an event, kind of in their eyes probably fails because there's only 8 parents there. So plan for action here. Try new methods of communication, I think, would be a good first step. And each school is a little different with how parents communicate, and within each school, different groups of parents communicate in different ways. So I would do multiple lines of communication, including your old school email, picking up the phone and calling, texting, having apps like the Remind app where you can basically text information to people, social media, website, everything that you could possibly use that can help people communicate. Second thing is start the meeting with 8 people as an introductory meeting. Show that you're serious about getting parents involved and that this was just a first step in a long-term plan. And then go out and recruit parents for this committee. Usually in schools, you have a group of parents that do some things in the school that that maybe you can get them to get involved with this group and then have them recruit other parents, because that's, other parents know other parents and have relationships, and that's a great way to recruit people. So have a kind of a recruitment plan on how to get an advisory group going. Number 3, now this one costs money, which we know in education we can be hurting for money sometimes, but if we want to get this thing going, I think it's worth a little bit of an investment. So offer discounts to athletic or performance arts or different events like that if they're part of a parent group. Give them t-shirts that show pride in the school, where they're wearing around a JFK school parent advisory group t-shirt. Offer food. People love free gear, and free food. I know that from coaching. And then connect parents with student work. What I mean by that is, I'll talk about that in the implementations part here. So first step is write a communication plan. How are we going to communicate with parents? How often we're going to communicate with parents? And who's going to do it? And have a plan and try to stick with that plan. Secondly, target parents to recruit based on past involvement that represent the student body well. For instance, if you had 50% Caucasian, 50% African American, you wouldn't want all the parents to be in one group. That's what I mean by representation of the student body. Also socioeconomic status, all sorts of different layers with that. And actually go out and make phone calls and have face-to-face meetings with some parents that you think would be good for the group. Number 3, budget funds to help with those incentives we talked about. There's always, some of those things don't cost a ton of money, and sometimes you can get things donated as well. So go out and try to figure that out. Number 4, require teachers to have projects to work with their parents at home. So again, this connects the student with the parent and combines their education. So whatever that might be, maybe they have to interview the parent. Maybe the parent has to read something and simply sign off. Whatever it might be, just get the parents used to working with their kids at home on school things. I think over-communicating is important, especially early on with this. So you have that communication plan. I would make it a pretty constant feed of information. And then when you're having these meetings, I think it's important to find dates, times, days of the week that work for most parents. You're never going to find a perfect time. People are very busy with work, with their kids' things, with all sorts of things that happen in life. So in your community, what days, times, days of the week work best for your parents? All right, looking at a few of the issues and how they promote success for all students. Lack of parental involvement. Well, if you can get parental involvement up, research shows that when parents are involved, students perform better in schools. It's really that simple. Creating more parent involvement is essential to having the most successful school you could possibly have. Another issue is apprehensive or cynical principal. And in a lot of cases, it doesn't have to be a principal. It could be a teacher that's been around for a long time. We've all ran into these people in education that just have a bad taste in their mouth with some bad experiences and sometimes forget all the positive and good things that happen in the school. So when a new teacher or new administrator in this case comes in and has a new outlook and new ideas, it can be refreshing and invigorating for that principal. And it can give that principal a new sense of energy, which then rubs off on teachers and students when they see that the principal isn't their normal cynical self and they have some new ideas and they want to get people involved and get some new things rolling. And then the last issue in this slide is, only 8 parents showing up at the first meeting, and this could be, pretty disappointing. But you can't give up here. You got to figure out new ways to communicate. You got to go out and recruit. You got to show students that you're not going to give up, that you have a growth mindset, that you're going to keep working hard to make this thing work because you know what's best for the students. And, some students will notice that, and they'll start to notice change as parents get more involved. Debriefing here, my thinking, feeling, valuing, and identifying issues. What was I thinking? How over time people become cynical and jaded by things that are going on in schools and forget a lot of the great things that happen in schools. Basically, from the principal's point of view here. What was I feeling? Disappointed more parents didn't show up and wanted to be involved. It's as a parent now, you get pulled in so many ways. I can see how it can be hard to always volunteer your time and get involved. But it's a shame because I think, as they're young, parents are more involved. As they get older, they get less and less involved. And then in today's society with more working parents, it's harder for them to be involved. And then valuing parents that I've worked with in the past that take pride in being involved and do a lot of things. I've worked with a lot of great parents that have helped me significantly, especially with coaching different teams. Further discussion or questions. Will the plan work? What could have been done earlier to prevent this to be such a problem? Because there was some parent PTA or something prior. Are parent involvement issues part of all schools now? And why are some schools better than other schools? I would love to be able to see some research on that. And what is the best way to get parental involvement? And specifically in your school, because I think from school to school, community to community, that can look a little bit different. Category 5, we're looking at Standard 4. How did you as an educational leader promote academic success of every student? Students see this effort. We already talked about over time, parents will get involved, which will create better student success. The research has shown that. Also, when you get parents involved, you get to hear what they're hearing or what they're seeing, get different opinions on things and different ideas on how to fix things, or maybe, when you get a lot of people in the room, you get a lot of different ideas and ways to improve things. And the students are going to see that these parents are getting more involved, and the administration of the schools trying to get parents involved. And I think the morale of the school will improve because of that, which when kids are feeling good, they're going to perform better. How did you, as an educational leader, promote personal well-being of every student? Well, again, when parents are involved, I think it creates healthier kids. The kids feel good about their parents being involved. They feel like their parents care about them, and that's very important to kids these days as they're growing up. And then you can use this time during these meetings to educate parents on different things. Mental health is a big thing that you could educate parents on these days. Suicide prevention, other things that could help parents be better parents. And then you hear different issues and new ideas to fix problems that are out there that may be negative for their kids, or they've heard have been negative for kids, and you see improvement there. And then how did you as an educational leader promote communities of engagement for families and other stakeholders in the school's community while addressing parent apathy? Can't give up. After one meeting with only 8 people, if you give up, it's never going to change. You got to look at how you're doing things, change it up a little, and keep going at it. And as you keep going, the numbers will go up. Create multiple opportunities. Don't just have this parental advisory committee. That might not be for everybody. Maybe have start a athletic PTA or something like that. More parents of athletes get involved, or have parents get involved, have them as part of a play. Keep reaching out and keep communicating in different ways, and showing that the parents that their opinions and thoughts matter, because we want to create the best opportunity for their students as we possibly can. Appreciate you listening to my presentation. Have a great day.